You're sitting at your desk on a Tuesday afternoon. Same spreadsheet, same meeting, same feeling in your gut, the one that whispers, "Is this really it?" That feeling? 32% of professionals between 25 and 44 had that exact same thought this year. They considered walking away from everything they'd built. But here's what most people don't know. The ones who actually made the jump? 80% of them are happier now. Let me say that again. 80%. Today, I'm giving you the exact playbook, the timeline, the financial math, the script for what to say when someone asks why you're making the switch. This isn't motivational fluff. This is the data. From Wharton, from Georgia Tech, from thousands of people who've done exactly what you're thinking about doing. Because the career pivot isn't the risky move anymore. Staying stuck? That's the gamble most people don't realize they're making. Let's start with the fear. The thing that keeps you in that chair, refreshing LinkedIn at midnight, wondering what if, but never clicking apply. You're afraid you'll take a pay cut you can't recover from. You're afraid you'll start over at the bottom. You're afraid you'll regret it. Those fears? They're based on myths, and I'm going to dismantle them with numbers, because numbers don't lie and your fear isn't doing the math. Here's the first number that changes everything. 80% of career changers report being happier in their new field than they were before. Not 50%, not 60, 80. 4 out of 5 people who took the leap ended up landing somewhere better. And that fear about money? 77% of career changers earn the same or more within 2 years of making the switch. 2 years. That's it. Most people spend longer than that complaining about their current job than it would take to actually fix their career. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The happiness gap, the difference between successful pivots and failed ones, comes down to one word: preparation. The data shows that people who make intentional, planned transitions report the highest satisfaction levels. Reactive pivots, getting fired, burning out, have worse outcomes. That's the difference between jumping because you have a parachute and jumping because the building's on fire. So what does intentional preparation actually look like? It's a 6 to 18-month timeline. And yes, I know that sounds long, but stay with me. Months 1 through 3, this is your audit phase. You're not job hunting yet. You're figuring out what you actually bring to the table that transfers. Here's a quote I want you to remember. Titles don't pivot. Capabilities do. You're not a marketing manager looking for a new marketing job. You're someone with pattern recognition skills, stakeholder management experience, and the ability to synthesize complex data into clear narratives. That's what travels. Here's your first action item. Write down 10 skills from your current role that apply to any industry. Not your job title, your actual capabilities. You might want to include things like stakeholder management, project coordination, data analysis, cross-functional communication, budget oversight. These are portable. These travel. Months 4 through 6. This is where most people skip a step. You're not applying to jobs yet. You're conducting informational interviews. The goal here isn't to ask for a job. It's to learn what you don't know. What the field actually looks like from the inside. What the hidden requirements are. Network for insight, not job leads. Seek stories, advice, insider perspectives. That's what separates researched pivots from desperate ones. Consider conducting 20 informational interviews in your target field before you apply anywhere. 20 conversations. That's your real research. What questions do you ask? Not, are you hiring? That's amateur hour. Ask about their path. Ask what surprised them. Ask what they wish they'd known. Ask, if someone from my background wanted to break in, what would you tell them to do first? That question alone is worth the entire meeting. Months 7 through 12. Now you're building what I call bridge projects. This is where you prove you can do the work before anyone's paying you to. Freelance projects. Volunteer work. Personal case studies. Anything that demonstrates capability in the new field without requiring someone to take a risk on you first. A friend of mine, let's call her Priya, spent 6 months doing free UX audits for local nonprofits while still in her accounting job. When she applied for her first design role, she had a portfolio of 6 real projects, not tutorials, not folkial assignments. Real work for real organizations. And here's what happened with the money question. Many career changers accept a 10 to 20% pay cut initially. That's real. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But and this is critical. They regain and exceed their previous compensation within 2 to 3 years. The dip is temporary, the gain is permanent. Think of it like this. You're not losing money, you're making an investment, and the ROI on career satisfaction is something spreadsheets can't capture. Here's the financial cheat code. Save 6 months of living expenses before you make the jump. That runway removes desperation from every negotiation you'll have. Now let's talk about age. Because I know some of you are thinking, that's great, but I'm 42. The window's closed. It's not. The data says the opposite. The average age of a career changer is 39 years old. This isn't a young person's game. This is a mid-career strategy. Here's the number that should give you confidence. Professionals aged 45 to 54 who voluntarily change jobs see average wage growth of 7.4%. That's not staying flat. That's not a pay cut. That's growth. At an age when most people assume they should just protect what they have. And 73% of professionals who change careers at 40 or older report higher job satisfaction within 2 years. 73%. Why does age actually help? Because you're not starting from zero. You have decades of transferable skills. Leadership experience, the soft skills that take years to develop. A 24-year-old switching careers is just switching jobs. A 44-year-old switching careers brings 2 decades of wisdom to a new field. That's leverage. Now let's talk about the conversation that scares people most. The one where someone asks, "So why are you making this change?" You freeze. You ramble about seeking new challenges or wanting more work-life balance, and you can see their eyes glaze over. What you need is what I call a bridge narrative, a 60-second story that connects your past experience to your future role with a clear why. The structure goes like this. Start with your spark, what drew you to the new field. Then connect your capabilities. End with your vision for what you'll bring. Here's an example. Priya, the accountant turned UX designer, didn't say I was bored with numbers. That's a red flag. She said, I spent 8 years making financial data readable for non-finance stakeholders. That's when I realized I wasn't passionate about the numbers. I was passionate about clarity. UX design is the same work at its core, taking complexity and making it intuitive. I'm not starting over. I'm refocusing what I've always done best. That's a bridge narrative. It doesn't apologize for the change. It reframes the change as inevitable, as the natural next step in an evolving career. Your bridge narrative should answer 3 questions before they're asked. Why now? Why this field? And why should we bet on you? When you have that story tight, something shifts. You stop defending your choice. You start selling your trajectory. Now, let me give you the full timeline one more time. Months 1 through 3, audit your transferable skills. Identify your targets. Months 4 through 6, informational interviews. Learn the field from the inside. Build relationships before you need them. Months 7 through 12, build bridge projects. Create evidence you can do the work. Prove yourself before anyone hires you. Months 12 through 18, active job search with refined narrative and portfolio. Now you're not begging for a chance, you're presenting your case. That's the timeline that separates the 80% who end up happier from the people who jump too fast and scramble to recover. And look, I know 18 months sounds like forever when you're miserable at your desk every day. But consider the alternative. 18 months of strategic preparation versus 5 years of complaining followed by a desperate leap followed by regret. The math isn't even close, and if you're watching this, something in you already knows it's time. You just needed the data to prove it wasn't crazy. Well, it's not crazy. 80% happier. 77% earning the same or more within 2 years. Those aren't odds. Those are near certainties with the right preparation. If this kind of thing is useful to you, hit subscribe. We put out new episodes every week. Real strategies, real numbers, no fluff. Here's your homework for this week. Write down your 10 transferable skills. Not your job duties, your actual capabilities. The things that would make you valuable anywhere. Then pick one person in your target field and send them a message. Not asking for a job. Just asking for 15 minutes to learn about their path. That's how it starts. One skill audit, one conversation. One step at a time toward the career that actually fits who you've become. Remember, 80% of career changers are happier. 77% earn the same or more within 2 years. The pivot isn't the risk. Staying stuck is. That's your cheat code for the week. Now go build your bridge.